Good morning. We are going to be doing the last indicator for Unit 5 today, and this is indicator 20. And you can see the learning target. I can calculate the whole when given the part and percent. Okay, so we are basically going to be finding percentage of a number. Okay, please remember in math, of means multiplication. Of means multiplication in math. Okay, so this is one thing that you really need to remember. Of means multiplication. So when we are finding percent of a number, let's say I give you 25. What is 25% of 40? And then you're supposed to calculate this. Okay, so there are two ways to do this. If a number can be converted to the simplest form, which is a fraction, that is great. Or it can be used as the decimal times, because of is times 40. Okay, but let me show you how simple it is if you have fractions also. And I have taken percentages which go like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, that way. But the other numbers you might want to use definitely the decimal format. Okay, so if I'm saying 10%, I'm just going to show you these percentages in the simplest form. Okay, so 10% is actually what? 10 over 100. And so therefore, I have got to convert this to simplest form, and I would have to divide by 10. So here you go, and I would end up with 1/10. Okay, so basically these percentages in simplest form. Now there's a reason I've written it like this, because 10%, 30% is 30 over 100, which is 3/10. 70% is 70 over 100, which is 7/10. And 90% is 90 over 100, which is 9/10. So these are the simplest form: 1/10, 3/10, 7/10, 9/10. And then over here for 20%, we have 20 over 100. And so in the simplest form, this would become, or divide by 20, right? And so this would become 1/5 in the simplest form. So this is 1/10. Here we go. These are the percentages in simplest form. 20%, 40% would be 2/5 when you put in simplest form. 60% would be 3/5, and then 80% is 4/5. So I know that by now you can see the pattern, why I've written these numbers here, why I've written these numbers here. And then I have 50%. We all know that 50 over 100 is actually what? 1/2. Okay? 25 over 100, 4 quarters in 100. So therefore this is 1/4. 25%, because that's 25 out of 100. And then 75% is 75 out of 100. So if this 25% is 1/4, 75% is going to be 3/4. So these fractions I'm writing down like in the simplest form. 33.3, repeating decimal, this is actually 1/3, because this is a repeating decimal. It carries on forever. Okay, and then if this is 1/3, 66.6% will be 2/3, because think about the fractional part. Okay, so I have just written these percentages in the fraction form in the simplest form, because it becomes really easy to calculate. Now look what I mean by that. If I'm saying find out what is 25% of 40. Okay, what is 25% of 40? There's also a formula for this, which you will learn later on, but I'm going to show it to you anyways in a minute. It's A is equal to PW. Okay, and I'll get to that in a minute. So 25% of 40, 25%, think about what I had. I had 1/4. Okay, I had 1/4. Of means multiplication, 40, and then you know when you are doing fractions, this becomes over 1, because that means the same thing. And then I'm going to simplify before I multiply. And I know that 4 times 10 gives me 40, and so 4 is divisible by 4. I get 1 here, and 40 divided by 4 gives me 10. So therefore, 25% of 40 is 10. Please don't write percentage at the end because that will be wrong. Okay, the number is 10, which is 25% of the number 40. So you just write 10. Okay, so one way is the fraction way because it's pretty simple when you have it in this format. Another way is also that you can convert the 25% to a decimal format of the percent. Okay, now what I said, A is equal to PW. A is part of the whole. Part of the whole. Okay, and then we have here P is the percentage. Mostly in decimal form is good. Okay, I mean you can do fractional form. So decimal form is a form of fraction, and W is the whole. Okay, so A is equal to PW is a really easy way to solve it. So we are trying to find, in this case, we have the percentage, we have the whole, 10 is the part of the whole. That is what we were trying to find. Okay, so when I'm saying what is 25% of 40, basically what do I have? I have 25%, which is the percent. I have the whole, which is 40. I'm trying to find part of the whole. So if you write it out as an equation like this, it becomes really easy. So we can do it another way. I'm going to make 25% into a decimal. So remember 1, 2 to the left. So this is equal to 2500 as a decimal. Okay, so I'm saying A is equal to PW, or I'm finding percentage of a number. So this, instead of writing 1/4, I could have also done 2500 times 40. Okay, and when you multiply this, here we go, 2500 times 40. Please remember the first rule of decimals, 2 digits here, 0 digits here, total amount is 2. 0 times 5, 0, 0 times 2, 0. And it's a 0 here in the next placeholder. 4 times 5, 22. 4 times 2, 8, 9, 10. And then we go 2 digits to the left. So look, you still get 10. Either way, you're going to get 10 as your answer. So whether you do with a fraction or you use the decimal format, both will end up giving you exactly the same answer in this case, okay? But I just want to show this to you because your 10 is part of the whole. P is your percentage in decimal form or fraction form, what you used over here. And when it's written next to each other, it means multiplication times the whole. So this is the whole in order for you to calculate. And we will get to this formula later on also, but I would like you to start thinking about the, this formula in this format, okay? Let's say I give you 60% of 150. Okay, so if I give you 60% of 150, so think about it, 60% is, 3/5. So either I can write it like that, or I can do it as a decimal, it doesn't matter. So let's say I choose to do it in the fraction format. 60% in simplest form is 3/5. Of means multiplication, 150 over 1. So this is my percentage, and this is my whole. I'm trying to find the part of the whole. Okay, so now let me simplify. And when I simplify from the top, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 times 3 is 15, and I have a 0. Okay, and so when I do 3 times 30, I get 90 as my answer. Once again, do not put percentage at the end or it will be marked off because it's not asking for the percent of the number. It's asking what is that part of 150, which is 60% of 150. Okay, so 60% of 150 would be 90. Okay, so let's say 90, meaning, for example, if I say you're going shopping and the outfit is 60% of the original price or something, so then you end up paying $90, okay, instead of 150. So that's why you don't write the percentage at the end of 90. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, okay? Now this one again can be done as a decimal. You could have done 1, 2, and you got 60, 100 times 150. Guys, you would end up with exactly the same answer, okay? Now, there are certain situations where you have to do the decimal version. So, you know, when it's not simplified this easily into a fraction, all right? So what I mean by that, let me show you some examples. And let's say I give you a problem in which how many students went on a vacation. Let's say 48% of, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to read out the entire word problem, but I'm just going to say, if I give you calculate 48% of let's say of 200. All right, I'm going to show you 2 ways this can be done. Okay, 48% of 200. First way is I can easily do this 1, 2, and I make it into a decimal. So percentage in decimal form is 4800. Of means multiplication 200, and then I can just multiply. So 200 times 4800, and then remember the first step of decimal multiplication. This is what we do. All right, so 0 times 8 and 8 times 0, 8 times 2 is 16, and a placeholder, then 4 times 0, 4 times 0, 4 times 2 is 8. And then I add and I get this, and I go 2 digits to the left. So if I'm saying what is 48% of 200, it is going to be 96 is my answer. Okay, another way I could have done this is like if you're thinking about it, hey, this is 48%. So 48% of 200, because if I have this written out like this, guys, look how simple it is to simplify. And when I am doing multiplication of fractions, you know that I can simplify anything from the numerator to the denominator. So if I have 100 down here, because I know my denominator has got to be 100 in a percent, and if I have 200, 300, 400, 500, anything like that on the top, it becomes really easy to simplify. So then all you could have done is written out like this, and this 100 times 1, 100 times 2, and then I'm left with just 48 times 2, which gives me 96 as my product over here. So that would be the percent of the number, okay? Let's do a problem. Okay, let's say I give you 150% of 120. Okay. So let's say I give you a problem which is 150% of 120. Okay. Now, one way to do this is, yes, I can straight up take this, make it into a decimal. So I go 1, 2, which is 1 and 5/10, or 1 and 50 100. Same thing. Of means multiplication, 120. And then I do 120 times 1 and 5/10. When you're multiplying, try to put the one with the less digits at the bottom. It becomes easier and it prevents mistakes, okay? And so here 0 digits, here we have 1 digit, total amount is 1 digit. So 0, 5 times 2 is 10, carry over 1, 5 times 1, 5 plus 1 is 6, okay? Then I go, here is a placeholder, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, and I get this, and then I go 1 to the left, and so my answer in this case is going to be 180. 150% of 120. Now, obviously, think about it. A number can definitely be greater than what you're starting with because this is more than 100%. 100% of the number would be the number, right? So that is another way I can break it up. Either I can do it in the decimal format like this, or I can say 100% of 120 basically means 100 over 100 times 120. So 100% of anything is itself, okay? So this would be 120 because this is 150%. So I'm breaking it down into 100% and 50% because it's 150, okay? So 100% of 120, this is nothing but, see, 100 over 100, which is what? Which is 1, right? So 1 times 120, which is 120. Get it? And then I have this, and then I have 50% of 120 would be what? 50% is half of that, right? Because I have 100% is 1, 50% is half of 120. So this is actually half of 120, and I get 60. Okay, and so now all I do is take the 120 plus the 60 and I get 180. So this is a good way to think about it if you're breaking it apart, 100% and another 50%. So therefore you take the original number and half of the original number, add them up, and that gives you 150%. So I just wanted to show this to you. Or you are welcome to do your decimal format and then multiply, okay? Let's do one more problem, and this is going to be one of the ones which you might see a lot, and this is a real life application, and this is how math is done whenever you're finding the area of something, okay? So let me remove this. Okay. So let's say the width of a rectangular room is 80% of its length. So let's say this is a rectangle. You've done area now, okay? And let's say the length is 15 feet and the width is 80% of the length. Okay, it's saying width is 80% of the length. Find the area of this room. Okay, so now this one is going to have 2 steps because you have the length, you have to first figure out the width, okay, based on the percentage that is given, and then you need to calculate the area of that room. Okay, so if I'm saying 80% of the length, 80% is what in simplest form? It is 4/5, okay? Times, that is of, the length is 15. So it's written like this. Okay, so first you're calculating that width. So 5 times 1, 5 times 3 is 15. So therefore, my width is 12 feet. Width is 12 feet, okay? So this is my width after the calculation. Now don't leave it like this because next thing it's asking is what is the area? And we know that the area of a rectangle is length times width, okay? So area is length times width of the rectangle. So therefore this is 15 times 12. And when I do 15 times 12, I am going to get 180 square feet. So this is the area of this rectangle as to how you calculate it. Using percentages to calculate one of the values in relation to the other. Okay, once again, the formula A is equal to PW. You're doing the part of the whole right now, but later on when we get to more later math and more in depth into percentages, you will also learn how to calculate the percentage part. You will also learn how to calculate the whole, because right now all you're doing is you're calculating percentage of a number, and I showed you several ways to do it, but we will get more in depth into this in a later unit. Okay? All right, guys, so that concludes our Unit 5, and we are done with indicators 15 through 20 in this lesson. All right, have a great day.